Hey guys, this is my review for Mass Effect. So Mass Effect, you play as Jack Shepard, and basically all he is like this special soldiery guy who works for the Alliance, although he originally is in, I think, the human army, since the Alliance at the start don't really help you out that much, or at least if you're a human they don't. They tend to like ignore you basically. So it's basically a action role-playing third-person shooter kind of game, and you go out into the universe and you can explore different maps, which are represented as planets in this game. Although I personally didn't really like it in this Mass Effect, because the planets, you have to explore them by using this little car thing that they give you, and the planets are all basically the same style. It's like an excessive amount of mountain terrain, and then they've chucked a couple meteorites or gold deposits or whatever it is on the planets that you can discover, and then there's also a crashed satellite or beacon that you can collect items out of, whether it be artifacts or weapons. And then there's usually either a bunker, a camp, or a little building that you can check inside, and then it will have a couple bad guys that you have to kill. But I mean, it's not that unique, because all the bunkers and all the mines and everything on all the planets, they all look exactly the same when you go inside. It's the same layout, the same sort of thing. They might just change the bad guys that are inside, and maybe where the collectible items or stuff that you can loot are found. But basically it's the exact same thing. You just have to do it 9 or 10 times for all the side quests that they have. But otherwise, this Mass Effect is quite short. This is the first one in the trilogy of 3 games that have been made so far, and there's a 4th one meant to come out in 2016, which is next year. And basically that one's going to be the start to a new trilogy, because Jack Shepard's story ends in the 3rd Mass Effect, and then they're going to restart with a whole new universe, because obviously the trilogy is getting quite old now after number 3, so to keep it interesting, they're going to be introducing a whole lot of new races and aliens. In this one, I think there's maybe 7 or 8 races I saw in the first Mass Effect game. I think there's more in the later trilogies. But in the first one, it's just kind of getting into the story, explaining what's meant to be going on, kind of getting you really used to it. This game is not long. It's maybe 14 to 16 hours of gameplay if you're going to do all the side quests and main quests. Although if you are going to try and do all of the side quests, I recommend that the moment you get a side quest, you go and you immediately do it, because in this game they have contradicting storylines, where if you rush your main storyline, even though there's only about 6 missions or so for the main storyline, it's not a long storyline. The main missions are significantly longer compared to the side quests though. But basically, if you stick to the main storyline, you end up killing some of the people who give you quests, side quests, or they end up dying somehow based on the decisions that you make in the main quests. Because basically, I don't think really any side quests determine or change the main storyline that much, but the main storyline does develop the game. Because one of the main reasons why I absolutely love the Mass Effect series is because they change the storyline with the game. So basically, any decision you make in the first game, you can then load your characters into the second game, and then it will redevelop the world around that. If you were to kill some character who's in this first game, they would no longer exist in the second game, sort of thing. Is one of the things that I really liked about this type of, this trilogy particularly. Although I think there's not as many decisions in the first game as there are in the second game, where a lot of your decisions really do impact the third game to this trilogy. Basically, you're just wandering around all these planets, collecting random stuff, satellites, bunkers, all the random buildings, just trying to basically bring peace to the world and try and stop the Reapers and the Geth who are trying to kill you. Although in number 1, it's mostly focused around, I think his name's Sauron or something. He's an alien who wants to help bring the Reapers because they've promised to keep him as like their special person or something. Which is doubtful, since the Reaper's main goal is to eliminate all life, which is like would include him. But I guess dumb people will do dumb things. So basically, the main storyline, there's maybe 6 main planets, and you go to these planets, and there might be 3 missions on the planet, which will be like in a row, but I guess they're meant to be individual missions because they kind of save between them. And then you do these missions, and then it leads into the second game. So I think this game was out in about 2007, and then there was the second one came out in around 2010, and the third one came out in 2012. Although this first one isn't like my favorite one out of the trilogy. I definitely preferred Mass Effect 2. I found this one was quite slow, and the side quests were really pathetic. They were all quite similar, and they didn't really offer that much in terms of like story or anything to the game. It was more just like a tedious repeating the similar things to get like weapons or mods for your weapons. And this game has like probably one of the worst inventory systems I have played with in a long time. Like, you have this option to like turn your weapons into Omnigel, so then you can open up chests and stuff instantly without having to manually override them. But to turn a weapon into gel, you have to look at it and then press the button to turn it into gel, and then you go to the next item and you press it again. Except there's not really any real inventory system to this game. It's more you go to equip something, and then it shows you all the possible items that you equip, and then you can turn that into Omnigel. Except specific races of the aliens can have certain weapons, so you'd basically have to have someone inside of your group so that you can look at the items in that specific like inventory slot style, so then you could get rid of it. And then since there's like a max limit to your inventory, which is I think 150, it's quite annoying when you get like lots of one area building up, especially your mods, which you don't actually really notice that much, but they do actually take up a heap of your inventory space. So when I found that when I was playing this game, my inventory kept getting filled, even though I only had about 20 guns in my inventory, but it was reaching the 150 mark. So it just annoyed me so much, I had to fly to an actual city, find a vendor, which are very, very badly like pointed out to you, unless you go to the main citadel, in which case you can just go to the markets and it's really easy to find them. But in the other planets, you basically have to walk to someone, find out that they have a shop, and then you'll know that they're there. They're not like easy to find. And then you can sell items, and that has a proper, like a much better inventory system compared to if you were just to do it from your character. Basically, money's not really that useful in this game. I didn't really see a point to it. Most of the weapons you pick up are good anyway. They don't have like a quality factor or anything where you pick up a bad weapon and then it won't work as well as if you were to buy one from a shop. So I think in the end I had a couple 100,000 of the coin thingies they had. I didn't have that much of the random stuff that you convert your weapons into. Can't remember what it's called now. That's terrible. But yeah, basically you get like a ridiculous amount of money. There's not a whole lot you can spend it on. Your character already has all the guns. One thing I particularly hate about this Mass Effect is that whatever you chose your character to specialize in, the other weapons he seems quite bad at. So, like with aiming and that, if you were to do the character that I did, which I think was Sniper or Recon or something, he's good with sniper rifles and pistols, which means basically they're the weapons that he does the most damage with. But if he was to use a shotgun or machine gun, basically the radius in which the bullets hit something increases so much that the gun's pretty much useless in battle. So it's quite annoying that there's not like a proper skill system to level up individual weapons. It's all based on what you choose at the start of the game, which I don't really like, because I mean, you like a little bit of variety when you're playing a game, especially with this type of game where basically you get enough skill points into your weapon or whatever, and then your weapon's just ridiculously strong and you can pretty much kill everything. which is what happened in this game, especially after I went to the Earth's moon, and there's a mission on there which lets you unlock a specialization skill, which basically increases your weapon's damage. So once I got that skill, I was able to increase my damage by heaps. And basically it's really easy to kill units in this, and the final boss fight was ridiculously easy. But then again, I had done most of the side quests and tried to get all of the strongest weapons in the universe before doing the final mission, just to make sure that I had done everything, because I absolutely love the Mass Effect series, and Mass Effect 2 and Mass Effect 3 I did most of the pretty much every mission that they had available. Mass Effect 3 is ridiculously short. Definitely a lot shorter than this one, but this one is definitely worth playing if you're thinking about playing this. It's a great start to the trilogy, and you should definitely play it before number 2 or number 3, whereas I didn't. I played number 2 first, but the story is still really easy to pick up if you're playing partway through. I just didn't really know what was happening at the start of the game, since it is carrying on from this one. But after playing this one, I can definitely tell what I was missing in the story. And it also explains a lot about the Reapers and the previous inhabitants of your universe or your solar system. But yeah, basically there's a lot of information on planets. They've written a lot of text that you can read. Side quests are very weak. Main quest is pretty good. This game is ridiculously buggy, especially I think it's on Site 15 or Peak 15, some place named like that, which is one of the main quests. Pretty much in that map, all the lighting went bad on me, so then I had to write the fix to it into the actual file, and then you change the view mode to, I think it's unlit or something, so then you can actually see who you're shooting, because otherwise everything just looks black to me. Apparently it's some issue that they had with AMD on CPUs. The newer ones don't have some sort of thing that Intel has, which this game was more made to work with. So basically you have to write your own fix into the code. They didn't fix it when they'd, even though people have been sending them stuff since ages ago asking for it to be fixed, but I guess they moved on to other games, which I can't blame them since this game is quite old. They shouldn't really have to keep updating it for people nowadays, especially when the community has already written their own fixes for it. But still, it would have been nice to have known that earlier. Other things that happened would be enemies pushing me out of walls in Peak 15. A couple of times I fell completely out of the world because some monster charged me and whacked me over, and then I fell out of the map. As well as pressing buttons on elevators, then the people on my team run to the corners of the elevator, and the elevator never moves because they're not in the right position. I also got a lot of bugs on the final mission, which I think is on Planet Isis or something like that. So basically I was getting the same lighting problem that I was having on Peak 15, as well as the camera in the cutscenes was going crazy. It was going inside of people when they were meant to be talking or pointing at the wrong people, as well as a couple times you couldn't actually hear what they were saying for some reason. The sound or whatever just stopped for them. You could still hear the environment around them, but the actual person stopped. So there were quite a few bugs, but I mean it's not enough to make me hate the game. Also in this game there's a decision making thingy where they have I think it's called Paragon, and then they have some other random one which is for angry people. And then basically your decisions on certain things affect your skill score, and then you can unlock new things in chat when you talk to people, which will affect the outcome of a conversation. So basically you do good things, then you get blue points. If you do bad things you get red points. Red points are negative effects, or you being angry to someone. Blue is more you being nice and understanding. Personally, I didn't think they did a good job of that in this game. In the other Mass Effect games, they do a better job. In this one, it's more based on your skill point placement rather than actually getting the points. I don't think there was that many... It didn't really affect that many things on how negative or how positive you were in this one. Whereas in the other Mass Effect games, it really does affect how people react to you. Otherwise, I was really happy with this game. It was definitely worth it. Heaps of fun, even though it's quite an old game. The graphics maybe aren't quite up to today's standards, but still it was Not that long ago, maybe like 10 years or so. But the graphics were still good enough for me. They weren't like some games that you play now, where basically you just look at it and you're like, wait, what? How could someone play this? This game, it was still quite good. I personally don't like the images they used of planets. Some of them didn't really make that much sense to me, like, because you can see them in the solar system, and I think there are a couple planets that you go to, and when you land on it, you can see this massive planet, like, right in the sky above you, but when you go back to the solar system view, that planet is, like, on the other side of the solar system, so you wonder how it looked so close on the planet ground. But I mean, it's not that bad. It still looked good. It just didn't really make a whole lot of sense, and the whole finding rocks and stuff on planets didn't make sense to me either, since they didn't serve much purpose apart from giving you more XP and more money, but you don't really need money, so it didn't really matter. But yeah, otherwise, the game was quite good. Skill points could use some work, inventory system could use some work, but otherwise I really enjoyed this game. So I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. So yeah, that's just my opinion. If you don't agree with it or you do agree with it, drop what you thought of the game in the comments below this video. Otherwise I'm only going to give it an 8 out of 10. Okay guys, see ya.